You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the premiere episode of the Battered Mets Fan podcast. My name is Manny, as you can see, aka Primo. If you're a fan of the Battered Fans Network, I am also co-host of the Battered Fins Fan podcast. Now, I know you're wondering, a Mets fan and a Dolphins fan, dude, like, are you okay these days? No, I'm actually not fine at all. I've seen better days, to say the least. So, so I've been wanting to do this podcast for a while, and my only condition was if I'm gonna do this podcast, I need a special co-host. So, this guy right here, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube, he bleeds blue and orange. Okay, we have very passionate arguments, and it's always about this team, the New York Mets. It drives us crazy. We both bleed blue and orange, but he has the upper hand because he's lived longer than I have. Born and raised in Queens, and without further ado, co-host to the Battered Mets Fan podcast, Mr. Ronnie Diaz. How you doing?
What's going on, Manny? Thank you for that intro. I wish I can say I'm doing all right. The record you see here, 10-21, it's not looking good at all. We'll get into that in just a bit. I like the jersey in the back. My favorite all-time Mets, by the way. Yes, sir.
Bro.
Jose Reyes. Grew up watching
Bro,
him.
you know, given how what happened this past month, you have to remind yourself why you love this team. You have to go back to the good days that this club has
I will
given
say,
us.
let me start off. I'm going to introduce myself this way. The 2006 Mets were probably the best team, the best Mets team I've seen in my lifetime. We didn't make it to the World Series that year, but that team was stacked top to bottom. What Omar Minaya did when he came in 2005, he really. We thought we were going to get the franchise we deserved as fans, but obviously it didn't turn out that way. But I loved watching Jose Reyes play, stealing them bags, breaking records, triples. I mean, 17 triples 2 seasons in a row. It hasn't been done. I don't think
It's unheard of.
It has not been done since then.
Unheard of.
So yeah, it's good to see that jersey. I had to.
Do you also love him more because he's Dominican like you, or just because of the player?
I try to keep that on the down low. People make fun of me because of that, but yeah, that's one of the reasons why.
Nice. So let's just dive into it because what can we say that hasn't been said by the Mets faithful? So entering the season, we missed the playoffs last year, which was a big downfall given that we signed Juan Soto and we truly believed that we were 2 games short of making a World Series appearance. It feels like a long time ago because of what has transpired since. So we entered the season with expectations of World Series, that we will give the Dodgers, if the Dodgers don't see the World Series this season, it's because of us. All right. Like we're in their path. And we also had the number 1 farm system in baseball. So you're thinking in your head as a Mets fan, okay, if we win this year or if we fall short, my goodness, like we have a bright future. We have everything in place. And then we made some moves to basically have this roster feel like we could compete with anybody. And if that doesn't go well, we have a top talent farm system. And if we win, you're thinking, my goodness, we could probably look at a dynasty because of the farm system, right? So then April happens. And I'm just going to run this by you, Ronnie. So 10-21, right? 6-12 at home. I want to remind the fans that in 2025, we were 49-32 at home. We talked about this before. We were looking as one of the best teams at home, and nobody wanted to see us in Queens. We're officially the worst team in baseball record-wise. You could say in all, but in terms of record, we are the worst team in baseball, sitting at 10-21. We scored 1 or 0 runs in 10 of the 31 games played this season. 1 or 0 runs, okay? Now, there's a lot of factors that are going to go into that, and you're wondering what the hell happened, okay? I want to ask you, Ronnie, of all the things that could be said, okay, what is the number 1 what's the number one biggest disappointment, at least for you, that you feel like lets you down, frustrates you as a Mets fan when you watch this team out there? You know, what's the worst thing? Like, what pisses you off as a fan?
You talking about in general, right?
Just in general, just in general.
Broken promises by the Coens. They promised us that we would see a World Series ring within what, the first 2 or 3 years. We thought we might have seen it when we signed Max Scherzer. Um, right? Was it Max Scherzer in 2022?
I believe
We made it.
Scherzer and Verlander, I believe, or Vernon might
I
have came
think
out.
Verlander came the year after. Yeah, the year
Uh,
after.
yeah,
We had DeGrom and Scherzer. We still had, obviously, we had Diaz as the closer. Pitching looked great. We made it to the wild card, and the Padres, they toyed with us literally that whole series. They looking thinking back to that series. Man, I think both teams stacked up evenly. I believe that the Mets held the first spot in the NL East throughout the year, and then I believe we might have been talking, or I forgot who I was talking about. I was talking to. We were just losing games, and somebody was telling me, "Look, oh, just chill out. There's 162 games every single year." I hear that, and I think
I was one of
that
them.
April,
One of our
April,
good
April
arguments.
yeah, April is probably the most important month of the season. I get that teams get into a good streak towards the end or the middle when they make trades and stuff like that. It happened to us in 2015 when we made it to the World Series. We traded for Cespedes. But the problem is that when you lose these many games early on in the season, it's hard to jump back. You got to win a bunch of games. We just went through a 12-game losing streak. We got to win 12 games in a row and then depend on other teams to keep losing and losing and losing. Uh, it doesn't look good now. But going back to that series in 2022, when the Padres just gave it to us, we won that first game. Um, it just didn't look bright after that. Then 2024 came around. We had Grimace, um, right? The Grimace run that we had, and what was this guy's name? The second baseman. Um,
Are you talking about the one that made the song?
that
I
made the
already forgot
song.
his name. Yeah,
Yeah. That he ended up
sure.
going to the Padres and kept it going there. Man, that was a memorable run because I did not have any expectations. And the way they played in the playoffs, whew, I think we were starting to dream again. But then the Dodgers came, another
Mhm.
NL West team, and they gave it to us and they humbled us. Because us Mets fans usually like to, we win one game and it's like, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
to answer your question, it's just broken promises. I guess the second disappointment, biggest disappointment, and I believe a lot of Mets fans may feel this way. Losing Pete Alonso, that's a
Okay.
big heartbreak. I think we lost a real good leader in the clubhouse. Farm grown, homegrown, came through the farm system.
Yeah, that
Everyone
one
loved
sucked.
them.
That one
Everyone
sucked.
loved them. And the chemistry in that clubhouse was just on point. Obviously, Soto came in and something changed. Um, we obviously had three big stars. Alonso was trying to get that big contract, and it was just a battle of who's alpha in that clubhouse. You can
Mhm.
see it on the field. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes. They're all professionals, but you can just see it when I play baseball. I've worked in many departments, and I try to lead my guys, as a team. And you can just tell when there's too many alphas in one room, it's a call for disaster. So regardless, losing Alonso was also a disappointment. Losing Nimmo, letting him walk or trading him away, and then letting Diaz walk as well. Look at our bullpen. Our bullpen is a
It
mess.
is a disaster. I'm gonna get to that, but it's a disaster.
Yeah. So I would say those are broken promises is the first biggest disappointment in the Cohen era, and then letting these guys walk and trading them away.
Just
Yeah.
want to let the folks know who's listening and watching. You just made a point that it's these broken promises. You're reminiscing of the other. This team is so incompetent right now that you're reminiscing of the other disappointments at the Met. Like you want to get to the other disappointments before the big disappointment, pretty much. And I totally agree with that. It's broken promises. Cohen promised us within his first 5 years, we're gonna get a championship, and he made us believe. And now it's year 6, and here we are, just wondering and scratching our heads if like this is just another joke. By the way, Jose Iglesias, that's the one that made the "Oh My God" song.
There you go, Jose.
That's
Yeah,
when
there you go.
it just felt like this team was different. And I feel like as a Mets fan, I want to make this clear. As a Mets fan, the reason why you choose the Mets in New York because of there's that other club that goes on in the wasteland of the Bronx. I don't talk about them, but the thing is, they have a culture. They have a culture built. They have a standard, and that's cool. I don't like this. I don't like the gimmick of when you have two teams inside of a city, you try to compete with the other one. I'm not a fan of that. What I want is stability inside your clubhouse. You want an identity. I even go to 2015 and the 2024 Mets. That team just had the right players, they had the chemistry, but man, there's just it's like you just when you go watch the Mets or when you watch them when they're losing or when they're winning, whatever, it just feels different. And you can say, oh, because they're winning, you're happy. No, like it's just these weird runs. Like there were so many things that were supposed to go wrong in 2015. There were so many things that were supposed to go wrong in 2016, 2020. Like you're not expecting it, but this team makes you believe. And that's our identity. I feel like we get a bunch of guys that like you put them together, they play hard, they play to their strengths, and then you have the manager that just understands it and makes it click together and doesn't rely on analytics. I just feel like that is the Mets identity. Is you have a bunch of guys. It does also help to have an owner that actually spends money, gets like 2006 team.
Right.
But it just feels different, and it gets you, and it's just that hope. Because when the team hits its highs, man, it is high. Like there's nothing better than it.
I'm gonna give credit where it's due. Cohen did come in and promise that he was gonna manage or run the organization a lot different than the Wilpons did. That was to spend money, and he did that. Granted, he did that, and he showed it when he signed Lindor. I don't agree with that contract that he gave him. I don't agree with what Lindor did, holding us hostage. It is what it is. That happened a few years ago. But he did promise us that he was going to sign. He was going to spend money, and he's doing that. The problem is that you just said it, analytics. We're signing guys based on analytics alone. And I get it. It's 2026. But come on, bro. How many teams have won without using analytics? Look at the 2004 Boston Red Sox. I'm going to go way back, and I'm going to poop on the Yankees. They were up 3-0. Analytics say statistics showed or said when a team is up 3-0, they've never lost a series.
You're not winning.
The Red Sox came back won 4-3. How did they do that? How was that possible? So that's what I'm saying. Like analytics, you can run your team based on analytics, but it's not going to get you to where you want to go. Not a single team that has won the World Series in the last 10 years has ran on analytics alone. And I can go back to the Chicago Cubs in 2016. We swept them in 2015 to make it to the World Series. And look what they did the year after. They didn't build that team on analytics alone. They had Anthony Rizzo. Their closer was Brian Wilson. Where is he now? Or what happened to him afterwards, So
they stuck to it, and they added the right pieces. Yeah,
exactly.
I agree. But we were in a Wilpons era, and we know the Wilpons, they were not gonna.
No, I get that.
We were not. Yeah,
it's just frustrating that you go from having the Wilpons not spending and coming up short every year. It didn't work, and then now you have another owner who is spending money, and it's still the same result. And now this time, it's not the ownership. I want to get to the blaming part because we need to blame someone for this.
Yes,
but
that was my next question.
it's the clubhouse right now. It seems to be dead. Like they look flat out there.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you definitely. I know you. I'm not saying I don't pay attention to the Mets, but like I've gone away from the viewing part, and not because I'm like I just don't want to watch them. Like you can't blame me for not watching the Mets right now, but like I listen to it. And it is brutal to listen to it, but Soto missed majority of April. and you have
Mhm.
Lindor in there. All right.
Mhm.
And then Lindor now is, now he's out when Soto's in. The timing, it seems pretty ironic, but
Right.
I'm not gonna do that. But we so our hitting is terrible, our pitching is terrible, and then the biggest thing of it all is that Mendoza doesn't lose his job. Normally managers lose their job when it's like, especially a team like the Mets in a big market, you fail because you see with Boston and you see with Philadelphia. So you're thinking, okay, and then Mendoza's next. Even though
Mhm.
I look, I'm a big Mendoza person. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really like Mendoza. I feel like he knows what he's doing. That being said, given everything that happened, I believe, okay, I believe in a situation where someone needs to get fired, but Mendoza doesn't get fired. You question, okay, what are we doing? Do they even care? The owner clearly cares because we have the second biggest payroll in baseball, just behind the
Right.
Dodgers. So there's no reason. By the way, I totally forgot to mention this. There's so much blasphemy, whatever the word is. There's so much crap going on in New York. I forgot we had a 12-game losing streak. I forgot about that. All right. We
uh,
had a 12-game losing
yeah,
streak. No one gets fired during a 12. No one gets fired at the point of 8. I'm thinking 8.
bro.
There needs to be
Our
an execution at this point.
our
But
closer was still Devin Williams somehow. We
Devin
have Craig
Williams,
Kimbrell Craig Kimbrell in there, and Luke Weaver. I mean, Luke Weaver blew the game today, but I mean, something's got to give.
someone needs to, like, do you look at the hitting coach? Do you look at the pitching? I don't know. But Mendoza doesn't get fired. So what is going on? And we don't know. So before I ask you the question, I'm just gonna give my quick answer. I'm blaming the other guys, specifically the hitting. You trade Angel, or not Angel, Louis Acuna. We trade Acuna, we
Mm-hmm.
trade Sprout, we traded some of our like future bright spots for other guys like Luis Robert, Freddie Peralta, right? So that means you're betting on Vientos, you're betting on Francisco Alvarez, you're betting on Beatty, right? Like you're on these players. And Ronnie, I'm just gonna run these stats by you. Vientos hitting 237, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alvarez is hitting 226, and
Mm-hmm.
Beatty is batting 211. These are pieces that we talked about. They're gonna, and another one is Mauricio, who's very disappointing because he's supposed to be the next big time player for us. If we're gonna be honest, like
He was
the way
supposed
I
to,
feel about Pete Alonso when he got called up,
right?
Mauricio, and he's disappointment. So these guys are batting under 250. The average as of now is 245. But let me put it in these terms: if you're batting under 250, you don't belong on the baseball field. Let me put it that way. You don't belong in every. You're not an everyday player, but these are everyday guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm blaming the development of these players. I don't know who to blame in that department of who's developing these guys, but that is just unacceptable because these are players that bat every single day, and they're not producing anything for you. They're giving Lindor nothing to work with, and Lindor he always starts slow. But when you have these
Right.
other guys that are just as bad, if not worse, if not Lindor's probably worse and he has worse averages, but that's just a recipe for disaster. And I'm not even gonna get to the pitching, but I want to ask you, who's to blame here, Ronnie? Like who's to blame? Who gets fired? You need to get rid of somebody's. Tell me, Ronnie. What do we need to do to fix
David
this?
Stearns. David Stearns. David
Okay.
Stearns. Simple. You let Pete Alonso walk. You saw how much he meant to the clubhouse, how much he meant to the fans, bro. I mean, you look at City Field.
It's
We
empty.
have
It's the
Soto. We
Marlins.
have Soto. We have Soto and Lindor, and they're two big stars. I know I mentioned the whole thing about Alpha. Uh, I mean, letting Alonso walk was probably a very big mistake. We didn't trade him away to our rival team like Boston did with Babe Ruth, but that might be a curse, letting your biggest star, the probably this after David Wright, walk like that. He was supposed to be a forever Met. You bring in guys like you just said. You traded away guys and kept Vientos and Beatty, and now they're all struggling. I believe they're struggling because they're trying to learn a new position. First base. Mark Vientos as a first baseman. Brett
They
Beatty, you
don't.
putting him in the outfield, first base, third base. Choose a position. So when they made the changes, When Alonso walked, they traded Nimmo. Diaz walked. Then I forgot who the other player that we were supposed to sign or we wanted to sign, a starter, went to another team. We started panicking. We were like, "That's it, we're done. There are no players available." And then all of a sudden, all these changes came in, like in 3-4 days, right before winter meetings were done.
I believe it was
We had some
Tucker
hopes.
that rejected us, right? And he went to the Dodgers. That
I
was a
believe so.
big
Yes.
whale fishing that we were going
Yeah.
for. And he, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that hurt. After losing these three guys, that hurt. So you made all these changes, and we finally had hope again. We thought, okay, something is brewing here. Maybe we do have
It was a
we
good
got
plan B.
Bochet. Yeah, right. And
Oh, man,
it's
poor
just
Bo,
disappointing.
man. Poor
And I
Bo, man. From
believe,
a game 7 to
I
this.
believe, yeah, right. I
Mhm.
believe David Stearns did not do everything wrong, but he didn't do everything right. And nobody's perfect in this world, but I do believe, again, we're going to go back to analytics. I believe he got these players off of the analytics alone because he is an analytics person and Cohen put his trust in that. But man, letting Alonso walk, I think, was probably the biggest mistake he could have done. So I would blame David Stearns for this.
Now, do you think if it's fair, but do you truly believe that if we were to keep, let's just say we sign Alonso, we give him his money, and we keep Nimmo. Do you think if we would have kept that core, that it would help improve the players of like Vientos, Alvarez, Beatty? Like, does that help the lineup? Because for me, I feel like if we were to keep Alonso, right, maybe we wouldn't be 10-21, but I find it hard to believe that keeping them is gonna just fix, because the lineup is one thing. Their lineup is one thing. There's also the pitching aspect that we need to get to as well. But I just feel like even if they're in the clubhouse, I truly don't know if you know, Vientos is now he's going to be hitting 250, 260 because I feel like even after them, the other guys need to step up. And these are the big chips that we were trying to develop and like be the stability of our lineup, but they're not showing up at all. And I don't see any progression. And this is a couple of years now that they've been together, and I'm not seeing. I feel like Vientos on the decline since 2024. Same with Alvarez, and that frustrates me. It really does frustrate me. So I don't. I hear you on that point, but like, I'm just asking you: do you truly believe that he was there? Do you think that's actually going to help boost the morale in the clubhouse, or do you feel like it's still going to be some issues there? I know there was reports that Soto and Lindor not getting along together. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's true or
I,
not, but do
bro,
you think
I
when
mean,
they would, fix things?
I'm gonna get to the whole Lindor and Soto situation. Everyone saw the handshake that Soto gave Lindor, and Lindor looking away on opening day, when they
It's
were
just
coming out and
weird, man.
being
It's just
announced. It's
weird.
very weird. It's a different dynamic.
I don't like
Um,
that, man.
I think because Alonso was homegrown and Nimmo was also homegrown, they were kind of the what's it called, the one that brought guys together. With Nimmo's
The glue
big
guys,
smile, Alonso's good heart. Yeah, exactly. And so who replaced Nimmo and who replaced Alonso? Again, you have guys playing different positions that
right?
haven't played before, and now their
Number
hitting is struggling
adjustment.
because they're trying to perfect or at least trying to work the position now. And it happens all the time when players change positions. They start struggling on with their bats because they're more focused on the glove. Um, yeah, I do believe it would have been a different dynamic. We wouldn't have the players that we do now because we still have Nimmo and Alonso, and I believe Alonso is doing great in Baltimore. I mean, not so great, but he is doing better. Um, and Nimmo, I don't. When you trade guys away and you break up a dynamic like that, it hurts a lot, and the guys feel it in the clubhouse. The presence is no longer there, and there's nobody in there to lead. So when you're now shifting from one clubhouse to another the following year, you have to kind of look for guidance in that clubhouse, for that leader in that clubhouse. And you have two guys that are stars trying to fight for that leadership. You have Soto, who was coming off a WBC that the DR was the favorite to win the classic, and he had a bunch of guys he got along with well. Obviously, they were all Dominicans. He felt like he was at home. Lindor did not get called to Puerto Rico over the whole insurance thing, so he felt that. So just
Yeah.
imagine when you're playing on the same team with the guy who was coming from being the hype man for DR, not the hype man, but coming from a team that they looked like a family, they had good chemistry,
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
were
And then
going well,
Churchill was insane.
and
Yeah.
Lindor missed out on that with his guys, with his squad. He wishes he could have had that, right? I'm not speaking for him, by the way. I'm just assuming.
Right.
But if I were in his shoes, I would feel some type of way. And he has the big contract, so it's sort of who has the who's gonna take the leadership role. Cohen rejected the idea of giving Lindor the captain role. He doesn't want any captains on that team, which I think that's a mistake. I think the team does need a leader, and by placing that C on that jersey is going to show a lot of respect. It's showing a lot of respect. It's going to bring morale up for not only the player but for the entire team, because it's going to show that he's the leader. We got to step up behind him and pick him up when he's down, because he's going to do that for us as well. With or without the C, Lindor would do it. It's just that everything that happened during the offseason is starting to show during the season. And it's we biggest mistake was letting Alonso walk and then trading them all.
Okay. So fair enough. So I don't want to get too much into the pitching, but I'll just run a quick, just real quick stats at you. Peterson, unplayable, 0-4, 6.53 ERA. Senga, that's another major point. This is a huge disappointment. I'm 0-4, 9 ERA. And it's just a weird void, the Mets right now. It's just I don't know what to do. I feel like these guys invested so much that you can't just blow it up after a month. I call me crazy, but I still feel like this team could pick it up. And I don't know the answer to that, simply because when you ask Mendoza, what is going on? Like, what can we do? His answers are, I don't know what's going. Like he himself is. I don't want to blame Mendoza, and I'm. It's weird. Someone needs to get blamed for. Someone needs to get fired. But yeah, I'm glad they didn't fire the coach, because I feel like Mendoza could turn it around. I guess it's just a Met fan in me hoping it's, again, I've seen better days. Maybe we'll see better days, Ronnie. Who knows? But I'm just saying, Peterson, he can't play. Senga can't play. And then we have a $25 million bullpen guy, Manaya, who we projected was going to change. We saved his career in 2024. And then here he is in the bullpen, 6.54 ERA. I'm going to sum it up, Manaya, this way. Okay, Ronnie? We dropped 2 out of 3 to the Nationals. The game on yesterday's game, okay, or Wednesday's game, he comes in, we're losing, right? He comes in, bases loaded, 2 outs. He hits a player, and then he gets up the grand slam. That right there perfectly sums up my name. So we have no bullpen. And then Devin Williams. I'm not going to say anything else. Just Devin Williams. I'm not even, Met fans know, I'm not even going to get into it. Just Devin Williams. So we have no bullpen. The only bright side, and we're going to just shift, because now we're officially in May, and hopefully we're going to turn the tides, right, Ronnie? So West Coast trip coming up. We're playing 3 at Anaheim. We're playing against the Angels. And to me, the bright side, the only good thing of the Mets, well, 2 good things. One, Soto's heating up. He still cares. Yeah. He's still playing like he wants that money, and well deserved. Hopefully the other guys step up. Nolan, I feel like we have a true ace on our team. He's the only guy. Well, Clay Holmes too. He's doing his best, but we're talking about a guy that is currently second in the polls to finish as the NL Cy Young winner.
Yeah.
Okay, that he's pitching on Saturday. Can we give him some runs, Ronnie? Like, can we give that man at least 3? I feel like it's the
giving Jacob DeGrom vibes. Yep.
Yeah, it's just all over again. It hurts, because if we're gonna blow it up, you might as well trade him for value, and I don't want that, because he's the only good piece we need to keep. But listen, people are batting 161 against him. He has a whip of under 1. It's at 85, which is fifth best in the league. 45 strikeouts, 2.55 ERA. Like, he is the man on the mound for the Mets. What are you hoping for? I mean, besides a series win, I'd imagine. What are you hoping for to see in Anaheim? And realistically, what's your predictions, and what can we expect from the Mets going, on? We're going to play, I believe, 6 days in a row. Our next break off is next Thursday. So what do you expect to see in Anaheim, and what matchups? What do you want to see from the Mets? As we try to turn the tide and save the season at this point?
Um, I'm a big fan of holding team meetings. I don't know why it's not done so often in baseball. I really don't know why. I know it's a long season, but when you have $1 billion team like this with high hopes, you need to have a meeting when you're 10 and 21. If you're
Your
not going to
voice.
have a meeting, somebody needs to say something and have that must-win mentality now, because we're entering the second month of the season. A 10-21 record, it's not going to favor you when it comes to July and August, and when you're in the dog days of September fighting for a spot. Us as Mets fans, we've seen it time and time again where we're fighting for that spot in the wild card, and it hurts when we don't make it, when we're just there. I'd rather give up in August, know that we're not going to make it, and then get our hearts broken again the last week of the season. Um, so they have to go into this weekend with the must win mentality. I know it's easier said than done. They look like they're dragging their feet out there on the field. There's no chemistry whatsoever. So someone needs to step up and uh, change. Tell them this is a team game. Everybody's got a we have
Do
we
their
just have
part.
to have must win.
Kitchen.
Yeah, do their part. Must win mentality. Um, I am gonna say one thing about Mendoza. He needs to have a better bullpen execution game plan, different game plan than what he's been doing the whole month of November. Um, I don't know why it's not done often in baseball as well. I think if this was I'm gonna mention the Yankees. I'm not a big fan of the Yankees, but I do respect their game. If this was the Yankees, someone already got fired last week, or during that 12-game losing streak. Changes would have been made right away. Players would have gotten sent down. Players would have came up that were ready to play. The bullpen would have been. I think they would have relieved a whole bunch of guys. Devin Williams. I mean, he was on the Yankees last year. I don't think he was this terrible to
Oh, he
start the season.
was.
Was he?
Yeah, he
I don't
was.
pay
He was.
attention to the Yankees.
Dude, I
I know the
remember
Yankees
I
fans.
was dancing in a my other cousins who are Yankee fans. I was dancing on their grave when that guy came in. And I'm like, Pete Alonso broke this guy, and then boom, blown, and then I saw
Well,
Mets. I'm like, ah,
they show grace when they're not 20 and 21 for sure. So,
yeah.
um, no, it's just going into this weekend with the must-win mentality and everybody doing their part. Mendoza's got to stop choosing the same guys in the same situation, same scenario, and from the bullpen, because obviously it's not working for us. Um, yeah, that's what I would want to look forward to. And you mentioned Nolan McLean with the run support. Give the guy some runs. Give the
He
guy some
needs it.
runs. He
He needs
deserves it.
it. He
Yeah,
get listen, three. It doesn't have to be pretty either. Just listen, stop aiming for the long balls. Just I feel like just let's get back to basics. Let's work on our mechanics, play the small ball, sacrifice. I'm all for bunts.
yeah,
Listen, McLean, when he's on the mound, you give that man every run. It feels like you. It's a massive step up to cross the finish line and get a win.
yeah,
And we need to start treating these games like more, like you said, must win. I know it's May, but this is unacceptable. We need to start. We need to finish, chip away at this point. Chip
yeah,
away, get closer to reach. Can we? The goal is, can we reach 5 to 7 games under 500? And you start to get that belief before the trade deadline and stuff like that. So
yeah,
McLean's on the mound, Holmes on the mound. I personally expect the Mets to take 2 out of 3. That's insane. But listen, I'm gonna be delusional. I feel like the ship is turning. We're going west. Those guys need to get together. I think we're fighting against some run support. I don't know about tomorrow, but you know what? Listen, there's 2 bad pitchers on the mound. The offense, if they could crack Urania pitching tomorrow for the Angels, I think that's going to get the offense going. And I feel like we get that momentum. I'm not saying we're going to win tomorrow because we just have a worse pitcher on the mound. But listen, if that offense could get going, I feel like that motor is going to be running. I feel like we could finally get that run support. Listen, the Mets are no longer scoring 1 or 0 points per game. Like, we're not winning, but we're starting to see more production with Soto in the lineup. So I'm hopeful. I'm hoping we win 2. We win 2. Real quick, that Rocky series, I don't think we have time to cover it, but the Rockies swept us, and it just felt like rock bottom. But somehow the Mets just, I don't believe that they're gonna whoop our ass again. But I just feel like if we win that series against the Angels, we start feeling good. You go to the Rockies, it's gonna be a slugfest again because of the altitude. And I think they're gonna be extra motivated because there's gonna be some extra motivation. You're playing the Rockies, they just swept you, they embarrass you at your house. I feel like we need to go over there and prove a point. I think Soto, I feel like he needs to be the man to step up. We'll see.
yeah.
Um, last thought, last question, Ronnie. Do you think Mendoza deserves to be fired?
Not yet. Let's see how May
Not yet?
goes.
right.
Yeah, not yet.
We'll
Hope
see.
isn't dead. We're in a familiar place right now, as Mets fans know, dangerously familiar. I would say his job is on life support, but he doesn't
Okay.
deserve to be fired just yet.
Okay. So not yet. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're listening on audio, we appreciate you listening. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. It'll do this really, really, just please, if you could do that, that'll be great. You know, we're very excited. Again, Ronnie, appreciate you. We're gonna be better together, man. We're on this journey. I'm very glad we finally got to do this podcast together. It's a long time coming.
Yes, sir.
And if this continues, we're gonna be more miserable as the season continues, and we're still gonna do it. But man, this is probably the happiest you're gonna see us if it continues going downward. That being said, take care, guys. Have a great night. Take care.